All right, welcome everybody. With me, I have Eric, the mushroom guy, who has a lifetime of wilderness skills, contagious curiosity for how to interact with everything in nature. Apparently, Eric has never had a 9 to 5. I can't say I've had a few jobs, but I've tried to avoid them as much as possible. So I think that's something that we probably share in common: our passion for nature, our passion for freedom. And before we got on this call, we were talking about all kinds of things involved in that, especially these day and age. And we'd love to welcome Eric Whitehead, the founder, creator, mushroom visionary of Untamed Feast. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a pleasure to be here. Not just me and my wife Michelle are the founders and visionaries, so I don't want to take all the credit there.
for sure.
Um,
Well, they say some of the best duos are the best, kind of businesses. Everything there's always a team, right? Even Walt Disney, he had his brother Roy, and we can go on down the list of the great partnerships of the world. So
yeah,
cool.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I like that. Uh, Kind of brought me back to thinking about how all this got going when you said that intro and never having a 9 to 5. I mean, it's pretty simple in terms of I grew up in the middle of nowhere, was always in the bush doing stuff, and then just somehow figured out how to make that into a living and a reality.
Cool.
So it doesn't get a lot more complicated. You know, you're walking around in the bush, you see things like mushrooms, and if you're me, you see opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's how the business was born.
Cool. Which I always like to say, that opportunity is how can I bring value to others? Well, the value is, the future is fungi. People are getting more and more into mushrooms, and there's so many areas, so many aspects of this. This is why we're putting together the Medicinal Mushroom Symposium, which has a broad spectrum deep dive into this realm, all the way from looking at the medicinal components, the latest scientific research, to the culinary aspect, to growing, to some of the research around microdosing, and then what you're going to be bringing to the table, which is your expertise, which is being in the bush, being in that environment, and using the mushrooms in a bit of a different way. Mushrooms as bushcraft, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a certified herbalist and I know a lot about mushrooms and I've been in that industry and in that field for a long time, but I'm not a mycologist. I don't have a bunch of letters behind my name to tell you all about the level of polysaccharides in northern Alberta chaga or whatever. I'm going to leave that to the professionals and I'm going to delve into a little more uh, hands-on uses of these medicinal mushrooms that grow on these trees in the boreal forest. Primarily birch is what I'm going to focus on, the medicinal ones that grow on birch, but the other uses for these medicinal mushrooms. So that'll be everything from, nature's first aid kits to preparing fire to carrying fire to boosting some medicinal aspects of other mushrooms with a mushroom. And yeah, a little more hands-on, interesting layer component to add to all the wonderful information that the real experts are going to have about the medicinal qualities.
Cool, right on. No, super stoked for it. And as much as like to say the future is fungi, our future is fungi has been our past as well, right? All the way back. I like to reference Otzi the Iceman. I'm sure you do as well, and which was discovered as the most kind of well-preserved human specimens that we've ever discovered and been able to kind of analyze and research. And there's a great example of a human hunter-gatherer, who did not have his backpack full of stuff, right? He could carry what he could carry. And on him were several species of fungi, including some of the ones that you work with and you'll be talking about.
Exactly. So we're going to touch on some of the mushrooms he was carrying with him and why, and how abundant these are, and what you could do with them, what he was doing with them, what you could do with them. Um, yeah, in those times, everything had to be there for you. You just had to know what it was. Was it a first aid bandage? Was it a way to start a fire? Was it something in Otzi's case, obviously he was treating some internal parasites with one of the mushrooms. We're going to talk about that. But some of those aspects can be utilized or at least thought about and enjoyed while you're out wandering around thinking of harvesting or actually harvesting. You know, say if you're going out chaga hunting, well, sometimes it's fun to take a little bit of that chaga and learn how to start a fire with it while you make some chaga tea on the chaga you just harvested. It gives you a real kind of feeling for the whole package, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And, case in point, you've been mentioning, like, if, God forbid, an accident happens, right? Those fungi can be there as an ally for, helping stop a bleeding of a wound or anything like that too. So
Absolutely. And it's fun to maybe put together a little first aid kit with some free, wonderful medicinal mushrooms that you could pack around in a little leather pouch if you wanted to. Might get you in touch with your ancestors a little bit. And yeah, it's just cool stuff to do in the woods, right?
yeah, no, absolutely. There's that whole saying that mushrooms heal you in two different ways, most especially when you're a forager. One is, obviously the medicine, as you mentioned. What are those polysaccharides? In chaga, in the Fomitopsis. But first and foremost, it is being out in nature, interacting with the ecosystem. Looking for these mushrooms, whether you pick them or not. There is so much healing in that. And I'm curious to know from you, you're obviously someone, here you've got this amazing company, Untamed Feast. Your products, I'm going to guess they're across Canada. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're across Canada. Mostly it's Western Canada for retail stores, but we do sell in a few out east. And then online, we sell in North America. But we are, I mean, we're still a mom and pop operation, basically because we're very focused on sustainability and there's only so many mushrooms. We're not ordering mushrooms from overseas to throw into our stuff. So, we wholesale some of that, but when nature doesn't provide enough mushrooms, well, that's when that product kind of stalls out and we wait for next year. So it's not the easiest business in the world to scale if you're just going to sell, Canadian product, which was our mission and what we started with and what we continue with. We have maybe some plans to expand into some other things. It's not like there's a lot of cordyceps and other great things. There could be a big list, but there are certain things we could expand to that, you just can't get at this latitude. But at this point in time, it's just exciting to offer what's local in a broad sense to North America, Canada.
Yeah, cool. No, it's a beautiful vision and one that, lots of respect for you out there fulfilling that vision. Like you're out in the bush. How many kind of weeks or months out of the year are you out in the bush harvesting with your team?
Well, let me tell you, it used to be a lot more than it is now. As anybody will find, as your business grows and you have multiple hats to put on, I wish I could say is, because it used to be just me wandering around in the bush picking mushrooms and whatnot and slicing them and drying them and the whole process. But obviously that changes and evolves. I did just get back from about 10 days scouting for chaga in the remote areas of northern Alberta. And generally in a year, I would go out for a month to a month and a half in the spring for the spring harvest of morels and whatnot, take my crew, and then again in the fall. So generally it was kind of like a month in the spring, a month in the fall, multiple trips from home in the winter for winter medicinals like chaga. But as time's gone on, my crew who I've trained over the last more than a decade have become from harvesters into suppliers, right? So instead of just taking the raw product from them, now they have a value-added system where they can get me the product, dry it themselves to our standards, ship it to us, and we, manufacture with it, do what we need to here at our facility. So more of my time now in the bush is, I would say, like scouting, because I've got a nose for it and I know what areas a crew or a person should be in. I'll go look at these and I'll tell my people, my friends, my allies, my contractors, look into this area. So it's a lot more scouting, a lot more even recreation, I would say, from my side of it, which is kind of nice, because for a long time it's just been work, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. I feel I've kind of come a bit full circle now to where I have a little more time and a little more grace out there now and less pressure, which has greatly, not that it went away, but renewed my interest in being out there. I always feel so rejuvenated and connected, especially if I'm not in a rush to produce a whole bunch of goods, right? If I'm just kind of communing, if you will, with nature and listening as to what's going on out there and managing those resources properly. I'd say, it's more come into sort of resource management role as opposed to just a quick extraction onto the next kind of zone.
Yeah, cool. And I've appreciated following you on Instagram too, which I'm going to assume has come from a little bit more of that leisurely pace, right? Where you've been doing lots of great videos, giving us insights to those journeys that you're on. So if anybody is on Instagram, and maybe you let us know if there's other platforms that we can follow you on, let us know how to find you.
For sure. Yeah, Instagram's a good one. There's Facebook, of course. There's also my personal Instagram, which is Eric Whitehead, which has more of the kind of weird bushcraft type stuff that maybe doesn't relate to the business so much. I mean, I don't really do Twitter that much. I probably should. So I think that's about it at this point in time.
Yeah. Cool. Right on. Well, I'm super stoked. Looking forward to what you're going to be sharing. So we've got you booked in on Thursday. Let me just bring up the schedule here. Yeah, Thursday, March 25th at 8 p.m. Denis Manzer will be doing a session earlier that evening at 7 p.m. Wild medicinal mushrooms you should know. And then Eric will be diving right into his topic, wild mushrooms, more than medicine. And that's going to be a great, great little session. And we're going 6 nights. So we start Monday the 22nd, and it's going all the way through to Saturday the 27th. And for these types of, online symposiums, conventions, we know that it can get overwhelming, right? Especially if it's like, 2 days or even all day. And we didn't want that. We wanted to really kind of break it down, make it manageable, digestible little chunks, deep dive focuses each night. So it's kind of 2 sessions per night, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. They'll be recorded. So if anybody misses any of the sessions, then when you're registered, you'll get access to that. And a breadth of the whole spectrum of fungi and every aspect to dive into. So appreciate you being a part of the symposium, Eric. Looking forward to learning from you as we near the end of the month here. So anything else you want to leave us with before we see you again on the 25th?
No, that's great. I'm excited to impart some of this knowledge of mine. I always like doing that. It's hard to not talk about mushrooms sometimes, as I'm sure you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
Look forward to seeing everybody.
Okay, right on. So check out untamedfeast.com. Again, you can follow Eric as well on Instagram, Untamed Feast, as well as Eric Whitehead. And for any more tickets, information for the Medicinal Mushroom Symposium, go to lightseller.ca, live events. You'll see the link there. And thanks for tuning in. And thanks for joining us, Eric. We'll chat with you again soon.
Thank you.